Welcome to Voice Daily Finance, the most important news personalized for you every day. Supported by Voice.com.
Today, we have three major stories for you. First, we'll explore why young adults in China are paying to work in fake offices. It's a bizarre response to high youth unemployment that's now, believe it or not, becoming an incubator for AI skills. Then, we'll look at Ford's CEO, who's betting $5 billion to compete with China's BYD. But the secret to their new affordable EV truck relies on technology licensed from China. And finally, we'll break down how President Trump averted a trade war with an 11th hour deal and why a stunning 70% drop in the US. Trade deficit with China might just be a statistical illusion. In major cities across China, a truly bizarre new industry is booming. Young adults are paying companies just to pretend to have a job. With youth unemployment stubbornly high at over 14%, these mock-up offices are thriving. For about 30 yuan a day, you can rent a desk, complete with computers, meeting rooms, and colleagues who are all, doing the same thing. So the thing is, these companies are catering to a deep-seated need to avoid the social stigma of being jobless. They provide Wi-Fi, coffee, and even fake tasks to create a full-on office simulation. The entire phenomenon has been amplified on social media platforms like Xiaohongshu, where people share their experiences, turning this coping mechanism into a shared cultural moment. It's not about laziness, it's about survival. One graduate, Xiao Tang, paid for a spot to fake an internship because her university has an unwritten rule: no proof of employment, no diploma. Her take on the situation is chilling. If you're going to fake it, just fake it to the end. And the pressure she was under is immense. The Chinese Ministry of Education has actually issued official directives, the 4 not allowed rules, explicitly forbidding universities from linking diplomas to a student's employment status. But on the ground, these unwritten rules still have immense power, forcing students into these desperate situations. These spaces have become a refuge from parental pressure and a place to maintain a sense of normalcy. One man, Shui Zhou, sends photos of his fake office to his parents, who he says now feel much more at ease. He gets to the office by 9 a.m. and sometimes stays until 11 p.m. building friendships with his fellow workers. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. These aren't just Potemkin villages for the unemployed. They're becoming incubators. Attendees use the time to hunt for real jobs, launch startups, or, like Mr. Zhou, learn new AI skills to get a competitive edge. And this isn't just a random skill to pick up. After all, China is facing a monumental AI talent shortage, with some reports estimating a gap of over 4 million professionals by 2030. So, in a strange twist, these pretend offices are unintentionally becoming grassroots incubators for the exact skills the country needs. The owner of one such company in Dongguan puts it bluntly. He says all his workstations were full within a month of opening. In his words, "What I'm selling isn't a workstation, but the dignity of not being a useless person." This entire phenomenon, born from frustration, raises a profound question about the future of work. The founder of OneSpace sums it up best. It uses lies to maintain respectability, but it allows some people to find the truth. Speaking of intense competition and unexpected strategies coming out of China, let's turn to the auto industry. Ford's CEO just put his competitors on notice, declaring that global players like China's BYD are, in his words, all coming for us. His answer? A $5 billion bet on America? This urgency is fueled by a stark reality. Research shows that when federal EV tax credits eventually disappear, EV sales in the US could drop by as much as 40%. For Ford to survive, it has to compete purely on price and performance, making this bet on affordability absolutely critical. Ford is pouring $2 billion into its Louisville plant and another $3 billion into a Michigan battery park, all to launch what it calls a radical approach to electric vehicles. The goal is to build affordable EVs that can compete head-to-head on cost. At the heart of this radical approach is a secret skunkworks team developing a universal EV program. This is a single, flexible platform designed to be the foundation for everything from a pickup truck to a passenger car. The engineering is fascinating. It's designed to use 20% fewer parts and allow for 15% faster assembly, a gamble that a one-size-fits-all approach can dramatically slash costs The first shot in this new war is a big one. A mid-size electric pickup truck slated for 2027 with a target price of just $30,000. A $30,000 electric truck sounds almost impossible, but the key is the battery. Ford is shifting to LFP, or lithium iron phosphate batteries. They're cheaper and safer than the nickel cobalt batteries in many current EVs. Combine that with a simpler design and locking in supplier costs early, and you have a potential recipe for an EV regular people can afford. Ford is calling this its next Model T moment, with a price point that mirrors the original when adjusted for inflation. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer to this. While this massive investment is set to secure nearly 4,000 jobs overall, the retooled Louisville plant itself will actually employ about 600 fewer workers. It sounds counterintuitive. A $2 billion investment leading to fewer jobs, but electric vehicles are just mechanically simpler. They have far fewer moving parts, and Ford's new platform uses 20% fewer parts overall. Fewer parts means fewer assembly steps and more automation. This is the tough reality of the EV transition. Manufacturing efficiency often means a reduced need for human workers on the line. Now, it's important to clarify what US-based actually means in this context. Ford is building a massive battery facility in Michigan, but the technology it's using is licensed from a Chinese company called CATL, the world's largest battery producer. So while the final battery packs will be assembled in the US, the core tech is still deeply tied to China. It's a strategic partnership that shows just how difficult it is to separate from the global supply chain. The core conflict is clear, a legacy automaker versus the world. It leaves us wondering, is this the radical approach that saves a Detroit giant, or a $5 billion gamble that comes too late? That tension between American ambition and Chinese technology is a perfect lead into our final story, where the entire US-China trade relationship just narrowly avoided a complete meltdown. A virtual trade embargo was averted with only hours to spare. Had a deal not been struck, US, tariffs on Chinese goods were set to explode to an incredible 145%, with Chinese tariffs on US goods hitting 125%. Instead, President Trump signed an executive order at the last minute, extending the current trade truce for another 90 days. This 11th hour move is a critical lifeline for US retailers in the middle of their holiday season import surge. This 90-day window is more than just a pause. It's a frantic scramble. Major tech companies are using this time to accelerate their escape from China. Apple, for example, is massively ramping up iPhone production in India, with exports from there hitting nearly $13 billion this year. It's a full-blown strategic pivot to places like Vietnam and Mexico to build more resilient supply chains. The drama unfolded exactly as insiders expected. As one former White House trade official said, it wouldn't be a Trump-style negotiation if it didn't go right down to the wire. Interestingly enough, to deal with this exact kind of unpredictability, corporate strategists are no longer just using spreadsheets. They are deploying sophisticated AI-driven tools that analyze geopolitical risk in real-time software that models countless scenarios to find blind spots human analysts might miss. The extension was signed shortly after Trump publicly demanded that China quadruple its purchases of US soybeans, adding another layer of pressure. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is a jaw-dropping number that seems to rewrite the narrative. New data shows the US trade deficit with China has plummeted by a staggering 70% over the last 5 consecutive months. Before anyone celebrates, it's crucial to understand what's likely driving that number. It seems this is likely a statistical illusion caused by something called the bullwhip effect. Companies, terrified of tariffs, rush to import massive amounts of goods before past deadlines. Then, with full warehouses, they slam the brakes on new orders. That sudden stop creates a dramatic, but likely temporary, drop in the deficit. Still, that represents a $22.2 billion reduction, narrowing the trade gap to its lowest level since February 2004. The extension keeps current US tariffs on Chinese imports locked at 30%, preventing a spike that one official called untenable. This move buys crucial time for holiday imports of electronics, apparel, and toys. So, is this a genuine de-escalation laying the groundwork for a landmark deal, or is it just kicking the can down the road until after the Christmas shopping season is over? The clock is now reset, and in 90 days, we'll find out.
That's it for today on Voice Daily Finance. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.